Ladies and gentlemen, when life breaks you, it feels like everything you've built, everything you've dreamed, and everything you've worked for is slipping right through your hand. But I want you to understand something. Being broken doesn't mean being finished. The truth is, when life breaks you, it's not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your strength. Every successful person you've ever admired has been broken at some point. They've cried, they've doubted, they've even thought about giving up. But what separated them from everyone else was the decision to rise back up, to take the pieces of their brokenness and build something greater. When life breaks you, the first thought that comes to your mind is that it's over. You feel like the story of your life has reached its conclusion and nothing good can come out of it. But let me tell you something that I've learned in my own journey. Being broken doesn't mean being finished. It doesn't mean the curtain has dropped on your life. In fact, being broken is often the beginning of your strength, the point where your true character begins to show itself. A lot of people see brokenness as weakness, but the truth is, brokenness is a sign that you've been tested, that you've been in a fight, that life is throwing something at you and you still standing in some way. Think about it this way. When you break a bone, it hurts. It weakens you for a moment. And you wonder if you'll ever feel normal again. But when that bone heals, it often grows back stronger in that very spot where the break happened. Life is the same way. The moments that break you, that cause you to fall to your knees, that make you cry at night when nobody's watching, those moments are the exact places where your strength is being built. The break is painful, but the healing creates power you didn't know you had. It creates resilience, it creates toughness, creates a deeper understanding of yourself. Every person you admire, every success story you've heard, every champion you've ever looked up to has been broken. They've had nights where they didn't know how they were going to make it. They've had setbacks that made them question everything. But the reason they became who they are is because they refused to let the break be the end. They treated it as the start of a new chapter, the moment when strength had to be called upon. They realized that brokenness was not the conclusion, it was the construction phase of greatness. I remember hearing a story about how seeds grow. A seed, before it can become a tree, has to break open. That shell, that hard layer that's protecting it, has to crack. Without the break, the growth could never happen. And that's exactly how it is with us. Life will break you open. Life will crack you in places you thought were unshakable. But the only reason it happens is so that the greatness inside of you can start to grow. If the seed doesn't break, it stays the same forever. If you don't get broken sometimes, you remain stuck in who you are, never discovering who you could become. The truth is, people who've never been broken don't know how strong they really are. They've never had to fight, never had to climb out of the pit, never had to rise when the odds were against them. But if you've been broken, then you know the struggle of standing up when you don't have the strength to. You know the feeling of pushing forward when the weight of life is trying to hold you back. And when you come through that, when you survive what was meant to destroy you, you stand taller, you think clearer, you believe stronger. That's why I say being broken doesn't mean being finished. It means your strength is beginning to take shape. Brokenness also gives you perspective. When you've been through enough pain, you start to see life differently. You don't take the small blessings for granted anymore. You don't waste time with people who don't appreciate you. You don't spend energy on things that don't matter. Because when you've been shattered before, you know the value of being whole again. You understand what matters and what doesn't. That kind of wisdom only comes from going through the break. And let me tell you, the beauty of being broken is that it introduces you to faith. It teaches you that you can't do it all by yourself. That sometimes you got to trust in a higher power, in God, in destiny, in something bigger than you. When you're broken, you realize your own strength has limits, but you also realize that there's a source of strength beyond you that can lift you, carry you, and put you back together in ways you never imagined. That's why some people come out of brokenness stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than ever. Because they've learned how to lean on faith, how to tap into inner reserves of power they didn't even know they had. So don't be ashamed of being broken. Don't let anybody convince you that your scars, your pain, or your setbacks mean that you're finished. Those very cracks are the places where your strength is forming, where your future is being built, where your true story is unfolding. Being broken is not a sign of weakness. It's the proof that you are human, that you are alive, and that you are in the process of becoming stronger than you have ever been. One of the biggest mistakes people make when life hits them with trouble is to believe that the struggle is a punishment. They think the pain is a sign that God has forgotten them, or that the universe is against them, or that maybe they just don't deserve happiness. But let me tell you something straight. Hard times are not punishments. Hard times are preparations. They are not designed to take you out. They are designed to shape you, mold you, and get you ready for the bigger blessings that are waiting down the road. The problem is, when you're in the middle of it, it never feels like preparation. It feels like pain. It feels like rejection. It feels like failure. You cry yourself to sleep. You question yourself. You even start to lose faith in everything you believed in. But just because it feels bad doesn't mean it's bad for you. Think about how a diamond is made. It doesn't just show up shining and beautiful. It starts as a piece of coal. That coal has to go through intense heat, incredible pressure, and years of shaping before it becomes a diamond. Without the pressure, without the fire, without the process, it would remain nothing more than coal. That's exactly what hard times are doing in your life. They're applying pressure, they're adding heat, they're stripping away the things that don't belong, and all of that is preparing you to shine like you never thought possible. Sometimes you don't get the job you wanted, not because you weren't qualified, but because God had a bigger one lined up. Sometimes a relationship falls apart, not because you're unlovable, but because that person was never meant to walk with you into your destiny. Sometimes doors close in your face, not to keep you out, but to redirect you to the door that was always meant for you. Preparation never looks like a blessing when you're going through it, but when you come out on the other side, you'll see it was the best thing that could have ever happened. I remember hearing a story about how an eagle trains its young. When the eaglets are in the nest, they're comfortable, they're warm, they're fed, but there comes a time when the mother eagle knows that comfort will destroy their future. So what does she do? She starts removing the soft feathers from the nest. She exposes the thorns and the sticks, and suddenly the nest isn't so comfortable anymore. Eventually, she pushes the eaglets out so they can learn how to fly. To the eaglet, it feels like punishment. To the eagle, it's preparation. That eagle knows that if they don't face the discomfort, they'll never spread their wings. Life works the same way. Sometimes it kicks you out of your comfort zone because it knows you were meant to soar, not sit. You have to start seeing your struggles differently. When people walk out on you, it might just be life removing the ones who couldn't handle where you're going. When you face financial struggles, it might be teaching you how to manage, how to appreciate, and how to multiply when abundance shows up. When you fail at something, it's not life punishing you. It's life preparing you for the next attempt, giving you wisdom that success could never have taught you. Every setback, every disappointment, every delay has a lesson in it. And those lessons are the very tools you're going to need when your breakthrough comes. The truth is, if you got everything you wanted the first time you asked, you wouldn't be ready to handle it. Success without preparation can be dangerous. Blessings without lessons can be wasted. But when you've been through the fire, when you've been tested, when you've had to fight for every step, you come out with appreciation, humility, and the strength to sustain what you've been given. Hard times don't come to destroy you. They come to prepare you for the future you asked for. Everybody wants to be strong. Everybody wants to be tough, resilient, and unstoppable. But here's the truth that most people don't want to face. True strength is never discovered in moments of comfort. It's revealed in moments of struggle. You don't find out how strong you are when life is easy, when the bills are paid, when everyone supports you, and when everything is going according to plan. You find out how strong you are when the lights go out, when people walk away, when money runs short, when the dream gets delayed, and when your back is against the wall. That's where real strength shows up. Comfort never requires courage. Comfort never requires resilience. Comfort never demands sacrifice. It's the struggle that forces you to dig deeper than you ever thought possible. When you're comfortable, you rely on routine. But when you're in a struggle, you're forced to rely on faith, on determination, on grit. The muscles of your character are built in the weight room of struggle. Just like in the gym, if you only lift light weights, you'll never build strength. It's the heavy weight, the kind that makes you sweat, the kind that makes you want to quit, that builds power. Life works the same way. The struggles you face are the weights you're lifting. Every challenge is building you, shaping you, and preparing you for something greater. Think about anybody you've admired in your life. Whether it's an athlete, a leader, or someone in your own family. You don't admire them because they had it easy. You admire them because they went through something and came out stronger. You admire them because they faced obstacles and didn't give up. Nobody claps for a story about comfort. People clap for the story of the fighter, the survivor, the overcomer, because struggle brings out something in the human spirit that comfort could never create. There's a saying that smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. And it's true. If the waters are always calm, the sailor never learns how to handle the storm. But once the storm comes, once the waves crash, once the winds blow, that's when the sailor's skill is tested and proven. Life is the same way. You won't know the depths of your own strength until you've weathered a storm. The struggle reveals the strength you didn't even know was inside you. It pushes you to discover new levels of patience, endurance, and courage. And once you've made it through, you carry that strength with you forever. I know some of you are in the middle of struggles right now. You're facing problems you don't have answers for. You're dealing with situations that keep you up at night. You're questioning whether you have what it takes to keep going. And I want you to know that this very moment, this struggle, is the place where your strength is being uncovered. You may feel weak, you may feel tired, but you're actually in the process of becoming stronger. The pain you feel today will be the power you carry tomorrow. You see, comfort never forces growth. It allows you to settle, it keeps you the same, it makes you complacent. But struggle demands growth. It forces you to rise. It challenges you to adapt. It requires you to fight. And in that fight, you start to see the real you. Not the version of you that everybody sees when life is easy, but the version of you that can handle storms, setbacks, and failures. That version of you is unstoppable. That version of you is unbreakable. That version of you is what true strength looks like. So the next time you find yourself in a struggle, stop asking why it's happening to you and start asking what is building in you, because the reality is the struggle isn't sent to destroy you, it's sent to reveal you. It's in those dark nights, in those lonely battles, in those moments when you feel like giving up, that the strongest parts of you are being born. True strength isn't something you're given, it's something you discover in the fire of struggle. There comes a point in everyone's life where something happens that feels like it completely breaks you. Maybe it's a heartbreak that leaves you shattered. Maybe it's losing a job you thought defined you. Maybe it's a betrayal from someone you trusted. Or maybe it's a dream that didn't go the way you planned. In those moments, it's easy to believe that the thing that broke you has now become your identity. People start to carry their failures, their pain, their mistakes like labels, as if what hurt them now defines them. But let me tell you this, you are not what broke you. You are what you choose to do after the break. The break might be part of your story, but it's not the whole story. Think about glass. When it shatters, you can look at it and see nothing but pieces, fragments, and something ruined. But an artist will take those broken pieces and create a mosaic, something more beautiful than the original ever was. That's what you can do with your life. The break doesn't end the value of the glass, it changes what it can become. In the same way, the break doesn't end the value of your life, it opens the door for you to rebuild into something stronger, wiser, and more powerful. Too many people let their pain dictate their future. They let the breakup convince them they're unlovable. They let the failure convince them they're not good enough. They let the rejection convince them that they'll never succeed. But those things are lies. Those are temporary moments trying to take permanent residence in your life. The truth is, your identity isn't tied to what happened to you. It's tied to how you respond to it. Life doesn't measure you by the break, it measures you by the comeback. I've met people who lost everything, and instead of staying down, they used that moment to build something greater. They went back to school, they started new businesses, they found new love, they deepened their faith. And when you look at them, you would never know what they went through unless they told you, because they refused to let the break become their name tag. They chose to let it be their fuel instead. That's what separates the people who move forward from the people who stay stuck. Not the break itself, but the decision they made afterward. I remember a time in my own life when I was broke, homeless, and living in my car. By all accounts, I was broken. People counted me out, some even laughed at me, and it would have been easy to say, this is it, this is who I am now, but I had to make a choice. I could let the break define me, or I could let the break refine me. I chose to keep believing, keep grinding, keep chasing the dream that God put in my heart. And if I hadn't made that choice, I wouldn't be standing here today. That's why I know deep in my soul that you are not what broke you. You are the choice you make after the break. Life will break everybody at some point. That's unavoidable. But the beauty is that after the break, you get to decide what happens next. You can rebuild stronger. You can rise higher. You can use that pain as purpose. The scars you carry are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you've survived something that tried to take you out. And survival gives you power. Survival gives you credibility. Survival gives you a platform to inspire someone else who's still in their broken place. So don't waste your life identifying with the thing that hurt you. Don't let the world tell you that your past equals your future. You are not your divorce. You are not your bankruptcy. You are not your failures, your mistakes, or your disappointments. You are the person who got back up. You are the one who kept walking when the weight tried to crush you. You are the one who decided that brokenness is not the end, but the starting point of a greater story. Most of the time when life breaks us, our first instinct is to cry out, to complain, to ask why it happened, and to feel like we've been cheated. We see the break as a curse, as something that ruined our lives. But what I've come to learn through my own experiences and through watching the journeys of so many others is that sometimes the break is not a curse at all. Sometimes the break is the blessing. Sometimes the thing that you thought destroyed you is the very thing that freed you, positioned you, and prepared you for growth and opportunities that you never would have had if the break hadn't happened. See, we're creatures of comfort. When life is going smooth, when the relationship feels safe, when the job feels steady, when the routine feels predictable, we settle. We stay where we are, even when deep down we know we're capable of more. And sometimes, if we don't move on our own, life has to move us. That's when the break comes. That's when the job ends. That's when the relationship falls apart. That's when the door closes. And while in the moment it feels devastating, in hindsight, you'll often look back and realize that was the best thing that could have ever happened to you. The break didn't ruin you, it redirected you. I remember when I lost jobs I thought were everything to me. I thought my life was over, my career was done. I couldn't see past the pain of the break. But those breaks were blessings because they forced me to dig deeper, to chase after dreams that I might have ignored if I stayed comfortable. The break pushed me into the unknown, and it was in the unknown that I found purpose, passion, and opportunities I never imagined. Without the break, I would have stayed stuck. With the break, I was propelled forward. See, growth rarely happens in calm, easy times. Growth comes from disruption. It comes from change. It comes from being shaken, stretched, and challenged. When the ground underneath you cracks, that's when you learn how to build a stronger foundation. When a door shuts in your face, that's when you learn how to find or create another one. The break opens up space in your life for something new to enter. And sometimes you don't even know what that something new is until it shows up. But it can't show up if you're too busy holding on to what's already broken. Think about a caterpillar. To it, life in the cocoon feels like the end. The cocoon breaks it down, transforms it, and in that process, everything it knew is gone. But the cocoon isn't punishment, it's preparation. The break inside the cocoon is what allows a caterpillar to grow wings and become a butterfly. Without that break, it could never fly. And you're the same way. The breaks you go through may feel like endings, but in reality, they're beginnings. They're giving you wings you didn't know you could grow. Sometimes relationships break because the person you were with, we couldn't carry the weight of your destiny. Sometimes jobs break because they were too small for the dreams inside of you. Sometimes plans break because life had a bigger one written for you, and when you finally see it, when you look back months or years later, you realize the very thing that hurt you was the thing that helped you. The break was the blessing. The truth is, you can't have breakthroughs without breaks. The word itself says it. You have to break through something to get to the next level. And every time you've broken down, every time something has ended, every time you thought it was over, what really happened was a breakthrough waiting to reveal itself. The challenge is not to get bitter about the break, but to look for the blessing inside of it. Because once you start seeing it that way, life changes. You stop seeing closed doors as rejection and start seeing them as redirection. You start seeing loss as failure and start seeing it as freedom. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what's next for me? Some of the greatest opportunities in your life are going to come on the other side of a break. Some of the most powerful growth you'll ever experience will come out of the moments that hurt you the most. You may not see it now. You may not feel it while you're in it, but there will come a time when you'll look back and thank God for the break, because without it, you never would discover how strong, how capable, and how unstoppable you truly are. One of the greatest lies that pain will whisper to you is that it's going to last forever. When you're broken, when you're going through a storm, it feels endless. You wake up with the weight on your chest, you go to bed with the same heaviness on your mind, and you start to believe that life will never get better. But I need you to understand something. Brokenness is temporary. It is a season, not a sentence. It may last for a chapter, but it's not the whole book. The beauty of life is that even though brokenness doesn't last forever, the things you gain from surviving it, your resilience, your wisdom, your strength, those last a lifetime. I've been through moments where I thought I was finished, moments where I thought I'd never climb out of the hole I was in, but looking back now, I realized that every season of brokenness I endured had an expiration date. The pain didn't stay, but what it left me with was priceless. Every time I came out of a storm, I came out with more resilience, with a tougher skin, with a deeper understanding of who I was. And that resilience stays with you forever. Once you've survived something you thought would destroy you, you carry that confidence for the rest of your life. You begin to say, if I got through that, I can get through anything. That kind of strength can't be bought, can't be taught, and can't be given. It can only be earned through broken seasons. Wisdom is another gift that brokenness leaves behind. When you've gone through heartbreak, disappointment, or failure, you learn lessons that success could never teach you. Failure teaches you patience. Loss teaches you gratitude. Struggle teaches you humility. Those are the kinds of lessons you carry for life, and they shape how you make decisions, how you treat people, and how you move forward. I've seen people who let their brokenness make them bitter, but I've also seen people who let their brokenness make them wise. And those are the people who walk into their future with clarity because they learn how to see through the pain and grab hold of the lesson inside. Strength, real strength, doesn't come from living a life without cracks. Real strength comes from being cracked open and still finding a way to stand tall. When you've been broken and put yourself back together, you discover a kind of strength that can't be shaken. It's not about how much you can lift in the gym, it's about how much you can carry in life. It's about being knocked down 9 times and getting up 10. And once that strength is built, it never leaves you. Life can throw more storms your way, but every storm you've already conquered reminds you that you built for this. I remember hearing a story about Japanese pottery where instead of throwing away broken bowls, they repaired them with gold. They call it kintsugi. The cracks are not hidden, they highlighted. The bowl becomes even more beautiful than it was before because the broken parts are now lined with gold. That's what happens to you when you survive brokenness. You come out with golden cracks. People look at you and see the strength in your scars, the wisdom in your eyes, the resilience in your walk. And you realize that you are more valuable, not less, because of what you've been through. Brokenness is temporary, but what it leaves behind is eternal. The resilience you gain will help you face every challenge ahead. The wisdom you learn will guide you through every decision. The strength you build will inspire everyone who sees your journey. And the truth is, you may not even realize how strong you are until you look back one day and see everything you've overcome. You'll realize that pain was a season, but the person you became because of it is forever. So the next time you're in a season of brokenness, don't believe the lie that it's going to last forever. Remind yourself that this is just part of the process. Remind yourself that the storm is passing through. And when it does, you'll be left with treasures that no one can take away. Brokenness is temporary, but resilience, wisdom, and strength will carry you through the rest of your life and beyond.